First of all, Jeff, thanks for coming on all the way from Lake Tahoe.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Before we get into the interview that we originally planned, something has happened in these last 3 or 4 days. It's the big fires in Maui. You have been instrumental in really helping, because I know you have some background there, spent some time there, and you have friends there. You guys have already exceeded $1 million just in what, 48 hours?
We have, and first of credit where credit is due, Alima Kai McFarland, MMA fighter, native to Hawaii, started this less than 48 hours ago. It is the Maui Fire fundraiser. $1 to whatever you feel comfortable, whatever you would like to give. I've never seen a global community come together in such a short period of time for those in need. We're just absolutely just grateful to and honored to be pulling our communities, ranging from our stay locals to our DeepSea magazines. And so really it was one of the first times in my career that Instagram, social media, which can be looked at as a positive and a negative, be so instrumental and so influential in such a short period of time to raise monies for this catastrophe and disaster.
These fires are nuts. I mean, I've been watching this, people jumping into the ocean. It's just not a place we think of for that. Where can someone go to donate right now? What's the fastest, easiest way to donate?
Go directly to Alima, who would start this, but it's going to be probably the one that's the fastest that's going to get relief. Right now, we've got gymnasiums, they've got hotels that are being activated for beds and pillows. I think when something like this happens, everyone wants to be an all-hand evolution. But I think at this point, instead of saying physical goods, which are going to take longer to get to the islands, $1, $10, $15, whatever it's going to be, Maui Fire Foundation, that is everywhere. And obviously, you can go to us, DeepSea Locker or DeepSea Magazine on our socials. We're just a conduit. You can click on it and give what you can.
Cool. And I've seen you posting all that on all of your channels. I'd be curious to how this ages in a year or two when people are listening to this. Hopefully the place is being restored thanks to everyone helping. You've done a lot with that. That was awesome. Now, speaking of a lot, all right, so let's jump into the actual interview here. At first, I thought it was just the DeepSea Magazine, right? Which was cool. And I was like, hey, let's do an interview about that. And then I start seeing all these other things, DeepSea Locker, all these other channels, local channels, like you do one for Tahoe.
We have Tahoe guides. I think it started for me during the pandemic. Instagram can be used for your own self-edification and your brand. I took that away. I took myself out of the brands and I allowed brands to let the stories, I always say local stories, global reach. So DeepSea Magazine is its own platform. Our DeepSea Locker is our clothing line. Stay local really was the impetus for DeepSea Magazine. DeepSea was always a part of me intrinsically as a deep-sea Navy diver and being involved in friends that are in the commercial diving industry. When you went out there and you searched, okay, who's this guy, Jeff? Stay local was really the foundation that led to what if you could take something that you learned in your own backyard and apply that on a global scale. And I think that we're seeing that, as you brought up in the first part of the program, the interview, is that the commonality. You're a Maui instructor, a Disney cast member, and I look at that as that you and I are having this conversation, and really it is about water, but it's our interest. And I think commonality and common interest points can transcend more than just, hey, I have an Instagram account. So our multiple platforms really are divided into two things. Our DeepSea brand, which is at its infancy, I feel. We're at issue 1. I think it's exciting, right, whenever you start something, but to see people like Fabien Cousteau, to see Paul Degelder, to see Neptunic, where it shows us that our credibility is there.
What was Cristina Zenato?
Cristina Zenato and I are going to be doing a specific article in issue 2. She wants to speak more about not so much her sharp research, but her as a motivational speaker and her as a woman in the industry. Cristina has agreed to do her own article that she'll write for DeepSea Magazine.
Oh man, that's exciting. You probably know she was on my show. We did an interview. Obviously, the shark stuff's incredible. The cave mapping stuff's incredible. But she's her superpower, really something that went viral on our channel, was like the starfish story. And like, I asked her, what's the one thing you want to tell a new scuba diver? Her thing about there are no monsters in the sea. In fact, it went so viral, we had a lot of people somewhat illegally ripping off our audio and stuff like that and putting it out there. So we didn't really chase them down because it was just people wanting to put something inspirational out there. So we're just, we let it be. I should say she was extremely plagiarized because it's just so inspirational. She's so good. What does DeepSea do the best?
I think DeepSea allows someone to be as deep as they want to in their own right. someone has the ability to come on and, our saying is made under pressure. Obviously, there's a duality to that. And I think that what I'm learning is the diving community, athletes, people like Paul Degelder that have obviously come through a massive shark attack, but that made under pressure is really what we're good at. Anyone that has the ability to be and connect with a large community usually comes from some sort of obstacle they've overcome, whether it be personal, professional. And somehow the water, I think that made under pressure is what we're really good at. I think it's identifying someone that has overcome something, or they want that confidence. And I think that, as you can attest as being an instructor, the first time someone puts on that mask, the first person that takes that breath of pressurized air, that's translating into a brand that allows people to say, hey, what about my story?
So Paul Degelder, you obviously know him.
He has become really a part of our DeepSea Locker and amphibian brand. So we'll be doing a co-branding collaboration with him. Proceeds part of that. He's very vocal about his Australian teammates and also their endeavors to save a lot of the marine wildlife. He's a big shark protection advocate. We came up with our own brand for him. He always does this if you see him, right? It's almost, and we've seen it before, but he's known for that. Spotting a shark. We came up with this symbolism, if you will. And I always tell him he's my Batman. I have a lot of respect for him. More of a motivational speaker. He wants to be known for that. And he is. I think he's given a lot of motivation for someone that jumps in the water and the first thing they worry about is there something down there that can hurt me? And here's an individual that was hurt and said, I'm not going to let it affect me. And I think that going forward, not only will he be an apparel champion, but I really see him as being an executive role and really a leader in where DeepSea will go.
It seems like the more experience people have with sharks, whether it be Cristina Zenato, Paul Degelder, anybody, myself included, probably you, I would assume, the more experience that we have with them, even if it's something like, what happened with Paul, they become shark advocates. It's like the more we understand them, the further away from that knee-jerk reaction we get, right down to, hey, I have a prosthetic leg and I'm on Team Shark. It's nuts. It's getting better for sure, but it's weird that these conversations are still going on.
Yeah, and there's Project Q. So Project Q is also taking fishermen that are killing sharks and then taking those boats and turning it into tourism. That's an amazing organization too that we're working with this year, and it's basically teaching people how to think. And unfortunately, through the history of humans, what we fear, right? We want to, we want to lash out. What we don't know, we want to go against. And they've been here for a while. They'll be here many more millions of years after us. And I think that they really unlock a lot of our own point of view of how we view things that we don't know about and things that we can't see or understand.
Jeff, you have a lot going on. You got DeepSea Magazine, you got the apparel line, you got the local channels. I got to ask, how do you stay organized? How do you stay sane?
This became a pet project and a social experiment, right? If you will. What I do for a day job, whether it's outside TV, we run a small outdoor adventure shop called Tahoe Guides. We take people out on a lake that most people have never seen before.
That's Lake Tahoe.
That's Lake Tahoe. We're specifically at Zephyr Cove. So how do I spend my day? I manage my time as if I was in the military. I wake up at 5 or 6. My conversations and Zoom calls are anything from talking to LifeHack, Frank Hughes. We're designing a watch with LifeHack, who's known around the globe. And then I'm in Google Translate because I can't understand someone speaking to me from Dubai as a commercial diver on a platform with Petro Dive. So I choose to spend my time plugging myself into the happenings around the world. And I got to tell you, it's exhilarating. If you could ever spend one day, take yourself out of your mundane, just your day to day, and just plug into not yourself, but plug into outside, you will find that your time is managed differently and that you'll find yourself more energetic about spending that 1 minute, that 1 second, that 1 hour. But yeah, I've had to recalibrate because I tell you, for 18 to 15 years, it's what we all do. Get in the car, drive an hour, go to a job. I'd worked for Callaway Golf in San Diego. I spent 12 hours. 2 of those hours were in a car. The other 8 to 10 was in a cubicle with a laptop. So I think coming out to Tahoe was refreshing. I always stay elevated. We're at 8,215 feet above sea level. It's definitely elevation has definitely changed my time management.
Oh, wow. I never actually put together the Tahoe was at elevation. So that's elevation diving then, right?
It is changes the dive tables. Altitude diving is a very unique. We've had all these interesting things because people come out here and they think, oh, golly gee, I've got my computer. That's great, but there's a whole different way that you're off gassing and how that nitrogen applies to your body.
What's the biggest mistake you see being made?
People being in a Caribbean-like environment, dropping down to 40 or 50 feet and not realizing where they're at. It's very disorienting when you're in a lake. There's no reference point because it's so deep, so fast. So the biggest mistake I see people up is not doing deco stops, not having that basic, hey, here's 30 feet, I should stop, right? Here's 60 feet. They're not the descent, it's the ascent. We've had medevacs. We have a chamber in Reno, which is a little bit of a trip. But once you're out there, the lake's 172 miles, across. That's a massive lake. It's the ocean, but it's not.
As soon as you said that, I'm like, gosh, I didn't even realize it was that big. Jeff, as far as managing all these different brands, because I realize like you have a huge online presence. I know you love them all, but like one of them definitely is going to be your golden child. Right now, what's your favorite?
It's Stay Local. I think it started for me to create a brand without worrying about monies, marketing, and someone saying you can't do it. So Stay Local is my baby. And I think that why it's so important to me is you're a small business owner. I'm a small business brand, really, when it comes down to it. And it's helping those. So the power that we see, whether it's the Kardashians, all these big brands that have millions of followers, it's so daunting for someone to say, hey, I have this small hamburger stand down the street. How can I be noticed? And I think one of the superpowers that I've learned is this social media prowess, that you make mention to, but using that for someone that's local. So Stay Local has become a great way to take this talent and work with local business owners and to work with Heavenly Village, which is right down the road from us. We have a great sport year-round. Tahoe is an outdoor activity community. So Stay Local is kind of like my child right now, that it's trying to figure out what it is. Are we helping local businesses? Are we an advocate for sustainability for visitors? DeepSea will always be something that I think others can jump on board and grow. But Stay Local will always be something very special to me because it started with just, hey, let's help the local business that might be struggling through the pandemic.
What's one thing that you feel like no matter how many times you put it out there, no matter how much it's on your website, it's the one thing you feel like you just can't connect with people on, or like no matter how many times you say it, it's not sticking? Because there's one thing a message you can't seem to quite get out the way you want.
I had this conversation with 4Ocean, actually the CEO of 4Ocean. It's littering. It's leaving it as you came. And I think that and we had a massive problem on 4th of July where people came and absolutely just trashed a 5-mile beach. Whether you're on vacation, there's the vacation brain and there's the I live here. Those should be two hemispheres glued together, that if you go somewhere, you should leave it the way you found it and pick up something as you leave. You don't have to be 4Ocean where they're doing millions and millions of poundage. We love partnering with that. But on just a local level, you can make a difference by just simply picking up what you left.
I think this is a perfect time to cue in that starfish story from Cristina Zenato, who we both know.
Absolutely.
The litter thing. I think either people care or they don't. We can say everyone picks up one thing, it makes a difference, or leave only footsteps. We're either preaching to a choir or preaching to someone that's like this. And I don't feel like, oh, they just don't get it. I'm probably the unpopular opinion here. I think the problem is they just don't care. I was walking my dog the other day right here on International Drive in Orlando, right? Busy area. I was walking by and I saw this SUV parked, somebody on their phone or whatever. And right next to it in the grass, and it was a relatively clean area, I saw the whole cup and straw and everything just and trash get thrown out and left there. And they closed the door back and it was an out-of-state plate. I'm like literally staring at them and looking, and I realized they didn't care if I stared at them. They didn't care. They just didn't care. I think it's more of just a self-respect thing. I could be wrong because like we can talk about how one thing makes a difference and if everybody does it, putting a sign up or whatever, but there's something culturally where people either are engaged or they are not. Where that connection, like what is it that triggered people like me, people like you to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to chase that bag that just blew away. I'm going to turn around and pick up that cap, even though it just rolled under that car. I am. And most of my friends are, but I feel like there's almost almost just like I give a crap or I don't. I'd love to see what makes that connection from I'm just going to throw my crap out because at the end of the day, my life will be fine. And you know what? It probably will. One bad apple, like, yeah, it sucks, but they're going to keep on going. People like us are going to clean up. When does that flip? What triggers a flip? Do they need to see something? Is it just a self value? Like if you see yourself as a better person, you then want to act like a better person. What is it? I mean, I'm asking because I don't know.
The only thing I can take away from or express what I've seen recently is a 5-year-old child that, without being told, Amber DeMello, she runs Grow Wild, which is a clothing company. Her 4-year-old daughter, without any kind of being told to, just picked up an orange rind or something she saw. And then she started collecting all these. She turned into a game, as many colors as you could pick up. I'm amazed that the youth, before they get to this stage in life, before they're admonished and told what to do, that a child will pick up the trash in Tahoe without even, now obviously there's the sanitary concerns. All the parents out there are like, I'm not going to have my child pick up trash. That's great. But a child, undaunted, just completely will pick up something that an adult left. And is that something you say?
Hey, they're already picking their nose and everything anyways, they might as well. So that sounds to me like it's something embedded in the culture. So like getting to the root of this problem, it's something embedded in the culture. So if children are doing it, maybe this is something we are doing better as a society. And maybe after a certain point, once they become such a minority of the people that don't care, then they feel, oh, I better not get seen doing this. What's the biggest mistake you made? Or like, what did you try that didn't work from the time you started to now?
My biggest fear is just not believing in myself and believing more in the mission. I think anyone can start an Instagram account. Anyone can start a passion project. But my biggest mistake was not believing in myself. I think that if you believe in what you're doing, regardless of what others may say, my biggest mistake was not putting equal weight into why I did this in the first place. And I think that having individuals that have much more experience, have bigger resumes, for me to have side conversations with those individuals, a lot of them said the same thing. When they first started out, it's like, I didn't know what I was doing. And here you are 20 years later. So yeah, my biggest mistake was just not believing in what I'm capable of. And I think it also goes to Paul Degelder's, a big thing is don't not do something because you're afraid of it. So I would tell anyone watching this that regardless of what industry you're in, just believe in yourself, because really that's your biggest enemy, your worst enemy, but you also can be your biggest hero.
What are you looking forward to the most?
Sure. My biggest hope and wish is that DeepSea becomes a community that is educational, it's entertaining, but it's also engaging. And people are every day wake up in the morning, and whether it's a post, to share some experience on a global level, my hope that this becomes a great backyard, but also brings back exploration, gets people inspired, go out there and find something.
I love it. Jeff, thanks for taking the time, man. I know we could talk all day, but I appreciate it.
Just want to thank you for showing an interest in what we're building. I think it's like I said, a positive pressure platform. And
you like those puns, don't you?
I do. I think that the fact that you're paying attention to us, we're looking right back out, and we love what you're doing. The people that you're interviewing, we'd love to have you on DeepSea Magazine in the near future.
That would be an honor of mine. Thanks for taking time out of your day to come on my little show here. Thanks for what you're doing for everybody over in Maui. That's huge. The amount of money you guys are helping raise is incredible. One more time, where people can go to even send $1 or $2 if they don't have much.
Just type Maui Fires on Instagram. It's going to lead you directly to the campaign.
Maui Fires. Okay, awesome. Love your work. Jeff, thanks again, man. Looking forward to talking to you again soon. And if you want to support my channel, go to sweetwaterscuba.com. We have all the good stuff like the shirts, the hats, the stickers, everything. Autographed kids books are on there, and wholesale opportunities for retailers. Don't forget, we're on almost every major channel, put out daily content, new stuff all the time. I'm on live all the time, so hopefully I'll see you on either TikTok, Kenny_Dial, Instagram, Sweetwater_Scuba, Facebook, just search me, or just search me in your browser, Kenny Dial. One of those should come up. Finally, the YouTube channel has all the podcasts and all of the short form stuff. It actually kind of has everything in one spot. Either way, I hope to see you on one of these apps, on one of these pages. Whatever connects us to the underwater world, I hope to see you there. Let's show the rest of the world the rest of the world.